Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We're focusing on the list of the ministerial nominees that was unveiled on the floor of the Senate yesterday. We're joined this morning by Segun Shomi, who was a deputy DG, PDP campaign in Ogun State in 2015. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Yes, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, guys.
Well, already you have so many people who are talking on Twitter saying, well, yes, this is a mixture for them, and the president had to do what he had to do. They've seen the names on this list, and many think that this would just be the first step to bring us to the kind of orientation and change that we've required. What do you think of this list?
Well, I think, first of all, it is important to say that Nigerians must be disappointed. As a party, the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, we're not disappointed, we're not surprised. We have always known that sometimes when people pretend that they have brought about a new idea and they're going to take society in directions that society has never gone before, you'll try to look at the antecedents. You try to look at the capacity based on their previous training that suggests that they even understand what they have signed up to. This list is unfortunate. It's made up of mainly people that have been tried, tested, and mostly with a lot of asking questions over their integrity. Some of them have petitions all over the place, challenging some of the things they've done before. You will expect that a government that wants to bring about the kind of change that Nigerians are expecting will be made up of some new people. Because this country, new people in the sense that, yes, new people in the sense that fresh faces, people with brilliant new ideas. Nigeria is a nation that is extremely gifted. One of our greatest assets is human resource. It becomes extremely depressive and painful that you are now bringing a ministerial list under a change mantra. And the people that you find there are men who were senators, who were ministers in 1979, like Ogun. His son now, the son of the man who cleared him in 1979, is standing before him. In 1979, Ogun presented himself before Olusola Saraki as Senate President. It is disgraceful and embarrassing that they are insisting that this nation has not been able to create human resource that can look at the next. And besides that, there are also new thinkings and new competencies required to deliver in this modern economy. None of the names on that list suggest that the president either knows what he's doing or he has not pandered too much to his party. And in pandering to his party, there are people within his party that could have helped him better. For instance, you can't take anything away from Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He's opposition leader, fine. But you will notice that over the last 4 cycles, Tinubu has been able to come up with creative new people for Lagos State. We cannot see any evidence that he has helped in superintending over who can be brought in, new people that can come and bring new things. When you see a list made up of men like Amici, you see a list made up of people like Fashola, you see a list made up of Audu, you see a list made up of mainly former PDP people who jumped ship.
But I see many comments, you know.
It is sad.
I see many comments too online and heard people say,
yes, you know, the people that comment online,
people who have been tested.
What does tested?
And then they can deliver.
Tested. You see, when you say tested in this country, you are looking for visionaries. If I had found the name like Donald Duke on that list, I would say, okay, that's a man.
Don't forget, this is the first part of the list.
Please. The fact that the man even says the first part of the list is the most embarrassing.
Why?
You spend about 4 months to go and put together a team and you bring this, and you cannot on the first day even bring us 32 of such people. You see what we now say? We say we have seen the saints and we have seen those who will be ministering at the kingdom of the saints and the change bringers. But I tell you, Nigerians must now begin to lower their expectation. For indeed, without a great dose of patience, you will go berserk, because the expectations and the kinds of things that we see them do are not in sync.
Are we hasty to come to that conclusion?
You will tell us to be patient.
Let me just, so that you can react to the question fully. What if at the end of the day, because these men are also listening, men and women are also watching and listening to what people are saying, what if at the end of the day, they then decide, look, well, everybody is entitled to the opinion, but when we get in there, we will work our sleeves and make sure that, look, we do what we're asked to come in and do. Basically delivering. Wouldn't that surprise you?
You see, there are models for determining whether a change process is on track. If there had been the People's Democratic Party of Nigeria, the former status quo of the last 16 years, which they like to time wasted, if we had presented this list, it would have been understandable. But when you tell a nation that we are coming on a fresh start, when you tell a nation that we're going to run on the best of our characters, the best of our conduct, the best of our integrity mantra, you can't come up with this. The reason is this. The question then gets asked, Has President Muhammadu Buhari, with all due respect to him, has he spent the last 16 years observing leadership in this country, and yet has not been able to come up with new names? Sometimes a breath of fresh air brings about with it new set of passion, new set of gusto, not the people that we know that their tendencies are anything but sparkling. And there's another area that is a bit unfortunate. The list has very, very few women. You see, Nigeria signed up to the Beijing Protocol. The Beijing Protocol has an expectation that when you are doing government or representation, you must accommodate women. And it's not just because of gender. It is simply because by their engagement and the way they have been created, and even with education, they seem to be able to manage things better. You have very few. Also, how can a 72-year-old man present a list to cabinet and we don't have enough young people? He has forgotten that the energy that even brought him into presidency is basically the energy on the elements of the youth. And you ask, where are the change bringers here?
Okay. In terms of these first 4 names that are on the screen, is there anything to say that these men cannot deliver?
What is there to say that Rotimi can deliver? He is relatively, with due respect, and not trying to be a bit libelous, very childish, placed to the gallery. All we remember about him is
track record and performance.
The track record and performance in that area is not a saying. Well, okay, Fashola, minimal capacity to perform, but very big overhand questions on corruption. Who's there? Fayemi, the one that cannot even manage expectations in a small community like Ondo, like Ekiti. Suddenly now is the one that is the new. You see what the president has done with this is to suggest that he has entered the presidency, he has started to create a fiefdom for his party, and is trying to put party men. Sometimes, for a nation like Nigeria that is in a haste, you need to depart from the party tendencies if you want to create cabinet. But at the end of the day, what is the purpose of government? Government, in my opinion, is to deliver on promises. And I tell you this list cannot match the kind of cabinet members that Olusegun Obasanjo presented to us just about the 2003-2007 session. You know why? Because he went out of his way to look for people that had capacity. Show me somebody that resembles Akinwumi Shola here. Show me someone that remotely resembles a man that we say, oh yes, this one, no question. I feel sad today that Gaimi Fayemi or blessed memory is not alive. Because I can imagine if he were to be alive, and if the social critics of the country have not lost their voice, if the media has not become totally compromised, you would have expected that the pages should have been screaming, Blue Mother. Why? He has a right and a prerogative to choose his cabinet, no doubt. But the expectation, the hope, the anticipation, we have to wait for 4 months for this? No.